smoke some weed, and probably eat a sandwich.
I didn't notice. As soon as you stop kind of moving around and stuff like that, it's kind of stops.
It might be
just trying to catch
distortion.
Yeah.
It also might have been me
nothing's
because I
moving.
went from like having my phone on speaker for clapping and then like moved it
Yeah.
around and stuff. So that's probably where
Oh, so you're just like thrashing
I was just like
about
moshing
when
in my
you're trying
car.
to
Yeah,
clear
I started
sound.
up the mosh pit. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. That's exactly what you're going to want.
Okay, yeah. Well, hello and welcome to Don't Bring Your Dog, a irregularly updating music podcast. My name is Carlos Lopez. With me is my co-host Taylor Fish.
Are we doing this?
We're doing it.
All right.
And also joining us is good friend of the show, Shannon, formerly of Junior Alberg, who was on our first ever episode of Don't Bring Your Dog, and now currently of Awake But Still in Bed.
And now the reboot of this podcast as
Yeah,
well.
and now is on the reboot of Don't Bring Your Dog. So basically, Shannon, anytime we need to start over, we're going to call you and talk to you about whatever you're doing.
You just got to get a bunch more bands ready.
Yeah. So just keep starting bands, and we'll all be excited about it, and just keep interviewing you, basically. But before we get into that, I do want to kind of talk about briefly, like, where have we been, Taylor? Like, what have we been doing? What's DBYD been doing? What about DBYD Presents? Like, what's been going on?
Well, I mean, besides the long hiatus that we didn't really have anything planned for afterwards, we kept talking about wanting to start it up again, and we just never.
Yeah, I mean, I had a major surgery, and that kind of derailed me for a little bit.
Yeah, the surgery derailed it. 2017 ended kind of weird for me. It ended with every single band I was in ending like one after the other, and then Pergs closing, which is the unfortunate downfall kind of Don't Bring Your Dog.
For those who don't know what Pergs is, do you want to kind of break it down?
Pergs is was the oldest coffee shop in Santa Cruz. It was a vintage kind of house feel, and it was like if you could do like house shows, but the house had employees, kind of thing. And those employees were also in bands that would regularly play Pergs as well. So unfortunately, with that, that was pretty much our home for Don't Bring Your Dog shows, and with that closing, now
do you know how many we did off the top of your head? Like how many shows you put on there in the 6-month window that we were active?
Jeez. I know some months were so crazy that it would start getting like a little. I was worried about overlap on shows and stuff.
It was getting pretty nuts.
And then even with 4 people trying to book everything, it started kind of getting a little chaotic. And then with all of us being in our own projects and bands as well, it just kind of got overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was easily over 20-something shows. I mean, probably 30 maybe.
Maybe.
I'd have to
the whole thing imploded on itself, basically, is what happened.
Yeah, it kind of fell over, and as we all started getting stressed about other things, just, normal life stuff that we all have to deal with, on top of, it's not like we get paid for the shows. Like, we didn't take any money for it, for any of those shows. So it's hard to continue going when you're really stressed out, and then to, set aside stuff that you really need to address in your life to, work basically for free to put on a show. Love doing it, but I think I need to turn it more into a hobby than almost a second job is what it was turning into.
So, what this doesn't mean is that DBYD is not dead. Don't Bring Your Dog is still a thing that we talk about and want to grow and expand and potentially change and who knows what. So we are occasionally still putting on shows under DBYD Presents.
Still flying the flag and everything.
You can still go to facebook.com/DBYD podcast, DBYD Presents, and those are still pages that exist, and you can contact us if you're curious about potentially putting on shows or getting doing interviews or things like that.
Forewarning though, with messaging the page and stuff like that for shows, it's very, very, very limited on shows we're doing. We're just splitting it between until we find another location, which I'm pretty much just waiting until something kind of falls in my lap. But I'm not really interested in any other spots in Santa Cruz to pursue for my next spot that I want to throw shows at. So until something falls in my lap, we're kind of splitting it between me and Trevor Legs' houses. We'll do a show here and there every couple months. But until that happens, bear with me. I'll try to help people still get shows and who to get in contact maybe with.
Don't be afraid to contact us. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Exactly.
And again, it's not that DBYD is gone forever. It just needs to kind of change focus. And
we're like on the butt end of getting our normal just life back on track.
Pretty much.
So
So
that's why we're doing an
That's
episode.
been the DBYD Minute. Thanks for paying attention. But now moving on to the actually interesting part of this interview.
Hi, Shannon.
Say hello.
Hello, guys. It's me.
How have you been?
Man, I've been so stressed. But I've been getting through it. My life's had a lot of like changes this year. Like even just between the last time I've moved 3 times since the last time we had an interview, and that was I think in March. So yeah, my life's been real hectic. Yeah.
As I was just complaining about mine too. That doesn't nearly sound as bad now, but
I've gotten and lost like 3 jobs. Like it's just I'm just constantly like I'm a little unstable. I guess I don't know, but
that's a lot of dogs.
Losing the dogs are like they're just like running away, like they're getting out somehow.
No, I said jobs, not dogs.
Oh, jobs! Did you hear dogs?
We both heard dogs. I was like, how did you get so many dogs?
Don't lose your dog podcast.
No, I have not. That is one thing that has remained constant through most of my life. I have not had a dog. I did have a dog when I was growing up, but not in a long time.
Why is that? Do you not want a dog?
In San Jose and just like the Bay Area, like you can't have a dog or any pet.
I mean, that's fair.
You're not allowed to.
I mean, yeah, it's the same thing.
They won't rent. They just won't rent. Like people are just, oh my god, they're looking for anything to like make you pay more or like to decline your application because there's so many applicants to every single spot. So like unless you're like rich and you're single and like you're or you have a really good job and like you have really good credit and you like have really good references and you also like I don't know. Well, I mean, like, if you don't have an animal, even better. If you don't use the house at all, even better. I feel like so many places are just, just don't ever be in the common spaces. I don't know if you ever see those, like ads. Like, it's for the location access, and it's like, cool. Anyway, I don't want to, like, complain about
Well, this has been How to Live in San Jose with a Dog, the podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, that's what.
No, but really, the reason we're talking today is you have a new project.
I do.
Junior Adalberg is it done? Is it over? Or is it just kind of on hiatus?
No, it dissolved. Yeah.
But you've since moved on from that. You toured solo, doing all kinds of different stuff, and then now you're in this new project with other members called Awake But Still in Bed.
Correct.
Do you want just go ahead and like break down what the band is?
Yeah. Awake But Still in Bed started out as, and I guess it remains like my, I guess I would call it kind of my like singer-songwriter project. Like it.
Yeah, if you don't mind me cutting it, because you actually, when we had talked to, well, geez, I don't even remember how long ago it was at this point, but before, you were still doing it solo projects, and you had like the recordings on your phone that had like the tap tempo and everything on it. And I remember you sending me the recordings, and me and Carlos had dinner that night, like with some friends and stuff that. And I had just gotten them from you, Shannon, and so I showed them that, and that's how long I've been like hearing these songs at this point.
Oh, dang, for sure, yeah. Oh man, yeah. So, those are so those are so like not fleshed out. Like what? I've been like. So like wrapped up in this record. Like, I don't know. I've never been in a band where I did the entire thing myself for the most part. And I didn't. By the way, I didn't do this entirely myself. I had help from 4 really incredible musicians who played on this record. Elijah played drums, Boren played secondary guitar, and Ben played the bass, and my friend David played keyboard. He's not in the band, but he played keys on the album.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Who was on keys? Because there's a couple tracks
where you can hear that.
It's got some cool. Yeah, it's got some cool stuff going on. But we'll definitely get to that.
But so I have never been like in other bands I've been in. Like I share vocal responsibilities. I share writing responsibilities. And all this other stuff. So like but this has been so like so much of the labor has fallen on me that I don't know. I love it to death, but it's just like it's so much more involved. And the other projects I've been in were also really involved, but I just didn't realize how much like effort it would take for me to like write every single song and then like write all the parts, collaboratively, sort of. I mean, I kind of told everybody what to play, but also they all added their own spin on it. But like, yeah, it's just, I've just been like, I'm so wrapped up in this thing that I can't even imagine what those like rough, old tracks sounded like that I sent to Taylor. I don't even remember. I remember that they exist, but there's no way I've listened. I've been listening to.
I might still have them saved on my phone too. I might just send them to you.
Stick around to the end of the show. We'll tag it on right at the very end.
Should we just have it slowly playing underneath us now?
If you're listening very carefully right now, there's about 3 seconds worth of it.
There you go.
You gotta really pay attention.
For some reason, you slow it down like extremely like slow.
Yeah, it's 800% slowed down. It's like this weird, ethereal kind of like dream track or something. I don't know.
Right. I was wondering if there's any riffs that you had that you were gonna use for like your previous band, Junior Adelberg, that you never ended up getting using. I was wondering if any of those got transferred over into this project.
Actually, yeah. It's an interesting question. 2 of the songs on the album actually were originally written to be Junior Adelberg songs. At one point in my life, back in like 2015, I wrote, like late 2015, early 2016, I wrote these 3 different songs, and I sent them all to my old guitar player, Devin, and they were just like, the track names were Shay Riff 1, Shay Riff 2, and Shay Riff 3, and
yeah, there it is. We all have one of those, at some point.
No, song 3. Play song 3.
Yeah, exactly. That just always stays song 3.
Well, it's funny because the Shay Riff 3 became a Junior Adelberg song. It became the song. God, what did I name that song? Oh my God, it's been so long. I've been so wrapped up. Holy shit, I can't remember the name of the song. Oh no.
It's okay.
Oh God, this is so embarrassing.
If you listen very closely, it's playing underneath this right now.
800% slow down.
Just like 3 seconds though.
It's Belong. Belong from.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Belong. From Junior Adelberg's LP was Shay Riff 3, and then Shay Riff 1 actually was going to be on the Junior Adelberg LP. Like it was slated to be. And we ended up cutting like 3 songs from that record because it was going to be like an hour long, and like we were all just like, yeah, we don't need to make an hour long record. It doesn't need to be that long. So that song got cut. It happens, but it's kind of nice because I get to play it with my new band. And then Shay Riff 2, like it didn't make it onto the album because it just didn't fit with the theme, and we were like thinking about making it like a song on a split or something, and then the band stopped or whatever. But anyway, but those songs, Shay Riff 1 is now called Saved, which is track 7, and Shay Riff 2 is now called Safe, which is track 3. Yeah. Originally, for like a really long time, actually, we in the band, if we're talking about like our set list, we still call it song 1, song 2.
Oh yeah. Everyone, at least for the most part, bands are familiar with that move.
Yeah.
So I guess let's talk about the structure of the album. It's 9 songs. And it has yourself on it. It has Elijah on drums, Warren on guitar, and Ben on bass.
Boren.
And then I forget.
Boren, not Warren. Boren. Borin.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Well, there's that. That's now correct.
No, you're
Sorry.
fine.
The structure of the album. It's 9 songs. It's got you guys 4, and then I already forgot the name of your keyboardist that you
David.
used. I guess talk about the process of writing it and what it was like. I mean, obviously some of that stuff carried over from Junior Adelberg, but there's newer stuff on it as well. And so I guess I think it's interesting to hear about an artist's like their creation process, like what it was like writing these songs and constructing them and having so much input on them. I guess is a good way to put it.
I had the idea of doing a solo project just for forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was in Junior Adelberg, and so I've had the mental idea of having like a solo singer-songwriter thing for like years. I can't even remember like when I first started like thinking about it or like planning for it. Probably around the time I was still in Bread Club, because I was playing solo shows back then too. But it was something I wasn't used to. I didn't know how to like break into it. So for such a long time, I was in bands where like all of the songs relied on like guitar riffs and not like like, so it was so hard for me to get out of that into writing things where I could play them by myself and they would sound like good or full or decent, which is like what I wanted to do. And I wanted to do it because I just wanted to challenge myself, but also I wanted to do it because I wanted to be able to play solo shows, just, as a side thing. And especially by the time I was in Junior Alderberg, like I had basically made a plan that I was going to have like Junior Alderberg as like my band. And then I was going to have a solo thing that I was going to do on the side. And that way I would have two bands that were like very fulfilling and took up all my time. And then, so I started writing for it. But it was just, I was like really slowly chipping away. Like some of these songs are really from like 2015. Like they're really old. Some of them are new. Some of them are from like around the time we did the interview with the Junior Alderberg record. And so like one of the songs on the album is 7 years old.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Jeez,
I wrote
Louise.
Floor in 2010 or 2009.
That's one of my favorite tracks.
Oh yeah, so
wow.
that song I wrote that song like at least seven. I was in high school when I wrote it. It was at least 7 years ago. But the original.
Okay, I have a question actually.
Yeah.
What were you listening to the most at the time when you wrote? Like, what kind of music were you really into listening to at the time when
I wrote
you
Floor?
were writing that song?
So the thing is, when I wrote Flora, I had not discovered emo yet. I had never heard of Captain Jazz or like, Built to Spill or any of those bands. I think I got into Built to Spill like at the end of high school, but like that was like the first like emo-ish band that I like got into. I at the time my favorite band was the Mars Volta. I was really into like my favorite bands in high school were like the Mars Volta. I really liked Muse. I really liked Alice in Chains. Like I know this is I liked Soundgarden. Like that was the stuff that I listened to all the time.
So okay, this is exactly what I wanted to hear.
You fell right into his trap, Shannon.
Because I've actually showed this song to a couple other people because I wanted their thoughts on it, and Floor is so interesting to me because it sounds exactly like it came out. I mean this in the best way possible. It sounds exactly like it came out of 1997 post-grunge era.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. You have this, female-led vocal with this, volume crescendo and chaos but then it resorts back to being very soft and quiet. And it's just like the first time I listened to it, I was like, "Oh, this is taking me back," but like in a really fun
Cool.
way.
Yeah, the funny thing about that song is the original version of the song, the original incarnation, was in an album that I did entirely in Spanish. So all the lyrics were completely rewritten. But
so real quick, why? Why was it in Spanish?
I used to not know how to express myself. So back in the day, I was too ashamed to like sing. Okay, so when I was growing up, my parents just like they didn't like that I sang because they thought it was really annoying. And so they like, oh my God, I hope my dad doesn't hear this because he's gonna like be like, why did you say that about me? But it's true. My dad did not. My dad
Sorry,
still
Dad.
does not like my music because he doesn't like my singing. That's like just been a consistent thing my whole life. Like he listened to the new the song Life that we put on YouTube or whatever, and I talked to him a couple of days ago, like before Thanksgiving, and he was like, yeah, I listened to your song. And I was like, cool. Did you like it? And he was like, well, like just like with everything else, like it was pretty good, but I just don't like the vocal. I was like, you shouldn't scream anymore. And I was like, okay, Dad, that's cool, but like I'm not gonna listen to my dad.
It just reminds me of that hard.
That's kind of like the classic dad thing.
It just reminds me of that Hard Times article where it's like, you have such a nice voice. Why all the screaming?
Oh,
like,
right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's, although I don't think my dad thinks I have a nice voice either. It's fine, whatever. The only time my dad has ever complimented my vocals is at the end of Belong when I'm like almost like talking and not like singing. I'm like it's singing at like the bottom of my range. And it's an old Junior Alderberg song. He like heard that and was just like, oh, that part was good, but it sounded like you were talking. And I was like, Dad, you just don't like it when I sing. Just leave me alone.
Well, that was like, when I was first learning bass, we used to play down. My parents had like it wasn't a basement.
It was just a downstairs den.
Yeah, and we used to jam down there. And I remember I was like just getting the hang of bass. And my mom came down to like watch us, and so see now we'll be even because if your dad gets mad that you said that, my mom will get mad at me for saying this. But when she came down to see us jam, we were showing her a song that I learned, and of course, like it's only like 3 or 4 chords for me. Like I just learned how to.
Yeah.
I just figured out like, oh, I'm supposed to follow what Carlos plays.
Like, I'm showing this to you, so you can.
And so as we're playing it, I look over to my mom like, look, I'm doing it, and she goes, So is that all you play for the song? I was just instantly crushed.
Yeah, oh my god.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It always stuck in my head. And so now I always think, like, I kept with bass for so long. And when my mom comes out to shows, just subconsciously just like, yeah, is that all I do? Is this all I do? It's like, how would if I did some vocals too at the same time? It's like,
Okay.
But yeah, so anyway, my parents didn't like me singing, and so I used to have this, like, it's taken me a really long time to get out of this. I used to have just a fucking ton of like shame, like built up around like singing, because I was so anxious, like that, because like every single time I sang, my parents would make fun of me, or my brothers would make fun of me, or they someone would like tell me to shut up, and I was just like, fuck, like, oh man. But I really wanted to like sing. I don't know, it was like a dream of mine to like sing in a band, and like just like to like, because I like to sing. It's really feels good, but like I wasn't like,
you're very good at it too.
Thank you. I wasn't naturally.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're all like, it's very, if it's not obvious already, like, we're a huge fan of all the music that you produced and been
There's
a part
only
of.
one who has 2 episodes on the show.
Yeah.
Guys, you're sweet. Well, I mean, I worked really, really, really hard to practice as much as I could. But like, yeah, I just like, I used to be so embarrassed of it, because if I was loud at all, my parents would give me, grief for it. So, and when I was a kid, like, it was just too much. It was too much to like not just sing and have my parents hear it, because I was in my room, like recording in my room, doing that, and then also having like lyrics that I wrote about my feelings, like, be audible as well. Like, I just could not do it. So I wrote all the lyrics in Spanish so my parents wouldn't understand what I was saying. I also used to want to be fluent in Spanish.
I mean, that makes actually a lot more sense when you play.
Yeah,
like,
at first I was like, well, see, what? That's crazy. And
it was just a really creative way for me, just like trying to do it in my head instead of having to sing stuff out loud.
Yeah, basically. And then I also, like, when I was in high school, I wanted to become fluent in Spanish. So it was a good practice thing for me too, because I'm not like a native Spanish speaker or anything. I studied it a lot in high school. It used to be like something I was really passionate about, but I kind of lost track of it when I moved, and I stopped going to school. So, but yeah. Anyway, but so that song is super old, and it was about a person. Yeah, it was about a person like, who at the time was like one of my best friends, and it was kind of like a love song to him. He went on to be like extremely terrible to me, like, throughout my life, and I don't want to go too far into detail, but we don't talk at all anymore, and hopefully he doesn't even like hear this, but the song, I kind of took it, like, none of the lyrics are the same. Like, I rewrote the entire thing to be an updated version of what the song originally meant to me.
I just kind of have one last question. And this is actually something I've been pondering a lot, talking even to myself, just on the how serious do I want to take music in my life? Like, do I want it just to be a hobby? Or like, or if it became something, would I follow it to see an end kind of thing? Mm-hmm. So I was just curious, for you, like, as a musician, just yourself, where are you kind of hoping to go with music? Is it like a career-based thing? You're hoping to, like, get noticed, or is it more of just like a hobby? I just do this for fun, or where do you want to go with music?
Well,
and it's a tougher question to answer
I feel like
than you think, and I totally understand. But
yeah, it's hard to answer, not because I don't think I know what to say, but because I feel like people judge you if you talk about your passions or your, like, whatever in certain ways. Definitely, like, I definitely feel like I approach music as, like, it's very important to me, and I want to do it full time. Like, I want to do it, like, and not have a job, and I want to just, like, go on the road all the time, and because I don't know, unfortunately, like, music is one of the only things that, like, really fulfills me. Like, having a job and, like, without doing music, I kind of go a little crazy. And like, when I do get into a band, I get really, really, really invested into it, and I pour a ton of myself into my songs. I feel I try to get very as emotionally attached to the music and to the project as I can. It just kind of happens naturally.
I think that shows. I think that definitely that comes through in the album for sure. Like, there's none of I've listened to it. You sent it to me a week ago. I've listened to it all the way through, I think about 15 times. Because I wanted to make sure I was prepared for this and was able to talk about it, but also because I really, really like it because it feels really earnest. It feels like whatever you are getting across what you're trying to say, if that makes sense.
Oh, cool.
And I think that's actually that's a very that's almost a rare thing, like for people at our level of when we make music. It's like when it's something that can't be 100% of the focus of our time, and it's not really our job, but it is something that we care about and are passionate about. It can be hard for exactly what your intent is when you write something to come through, I think, because you can't, as much as you try, you just can't dedicate to it the same way that it really needs. And I think you very successfily have done that with this record.
That's really good to hear.
And so that, yeah, I think that's just I'm really excited about it personally. Is what it really boils down to. I'm really into it. I really like listening to it. I can't wait for it to come out. Speaking of, when is the official drop for this?
So, if I could have it my way, the drop would be tomorrow. I am not putting it out with a label. I've decided to do it. Basically, I'm just putting it out. The band, we're just putting it out ourselves. We're having a couple of our friends make the physicals. Irfan from Fourth Row is going to do some CDs. Chris from Dutch Crunch is going to do some tapes. We've been talking about it for a while now. The reason it's not out already is because I can't. It's because I can't afford to pay for it yet. I've been working really hard, and it's just really
fair enough.
The classic.
We recorded it analog at a very nice studio called the Atomic Garden with a very, very good producer, Jack, who charges a very fair price. But I just went through a lot of changes in my financial situation. I've been working at my job and trying to work as much as I can, and I just, it's just a lot of money that I gotta pay. I am paying for it myself. I am not I'm not making my band mates pay for it. So
yeah. You know what I just realized is we actually haven't even said the name of the album. We said your name, we said the name of the band, Awake But Still in Bed, but we actually don't know what the album's called.
The name of the album is what people call self-esteem is really just seeing yourself the way that other people see you. I know it's a mouthful.
But no, that's awesome. One of my favorite albums of all time is Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not by the Arctic Monkeys, and it's I don't know. You typed it out to me, and I was like, aha,
right.
I could draw a line to these things.
You tried to get me to listen to that record when we first met, and I still haven't gotten around to it.
'Cause it's so good.
Yeah, no, I'm not against it.
I'm actually surprised you haven't listened to it before.
Yeah, I don't have any beef with that band. I just haven't gotten around to it.
For some reason, Shannon, you seem like the type of person who would have already heard it or listened to it for some reason to me, but I don't know.
Well, I guess I didn't live up to your expectations. I'm real sorry.
I guess you're not the person I thought you were.
Yeah, Shannon doesn't live up to the hype.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God.
No, that's not true.
You're here first, folks.
That's super mean. I'm sorry. I only have a couple more questions. But this one also might not necessarily have an answer. But do you have a favorite song on the album? Personally, it's the opener, and that's what it's called. It's called Opener. It's the first track on the album. That's my favorite. That's been my favorite since I've seen you guys perform. I don't know about you, Taylor, if you have a favorite yet. You definitely have not listened to it as much as I have.
I like Floor a lot.
You like Floor a lot?
Yeah, for the exact reason, because when you told me when we were talking about it a couple days after Shannon had sent it to me, just I was thinking it and I couldn't really describe how it made me feel, and then when she said this, that's exactly why.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like it sounds exactly like an old 90s, or a late 90s.
It sounds like something Garbage would have put out.
Right.
It's awesome. I love Garbage. I don't know. I'm into it. And then I guess. So what is your favorite? Before I move on to the next question, how do you answer it?
I think. Honestly, I think "Life" is my favorite song on the album. And I can't really explain why. I wrote that song it was one of those songs that just kind of came out of me. I wrote the chords and the main melody all really quickly. And it just all felt very natural. And then when the ending was added to it, it just like felt very complete to me. And I feel like that song kind of encapsulates like the stylistic leanings of this band like really well. Um it's like poppy, and then the vocals are really raw, and like it has like a hook, but it's like and then it has like but it's still like distinctly like of the like genre. Like it's very like there's like it's got like some emo like kind of like influences on it, but like at the same time it's not so strictly like I don't know, it's just like everything it kind of is everything that I was trying to have this band be, I guess, or like what I was going for as a songwriter, I guess I would say. I felt like
Okay.
I felt like when I did that song, I felt like it was I felt successful. Yeah.
Cool. That's actually, I think that's probably what the track we're gonna put up at the end of this, so everyone can listen to
cool.
it, because that's the one you've already released. Unless you have like super.
And it's good since you don't have a label, we don't get any trouble for playing it.
Oh yeah, that was something that happened a couple times on older episodes. Is they would get flagged.
Even if the band would message us being like, "Hey, thanks for playing or announcing our show."
I'm not gonna say which band it is, but there was a band that like saw that we talked about them, and they were like, "Hey, dude, thanks for talking about us," and then their label flagged us, and we couldn't
on YouTube.
we couldn't monetize the video.
So whack. That's so stupid.
It was like the band that you like that you even represent. Like it's like all about us.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can do that. I think it'd be cool to put a song that like I haven't put out yet, so people can hear more of it. But also,
okay. And you actually, yeah, let's pick one then. What do you think is a good one to actually? I personally also really like Fathers.
Yeah, I was gonna say Fathers.
Fathers, cool. I like Fathers. I think Fathers would be the one to do.
Yeah, I like the pacing of it a lot. I think it's I love. I like Fathers a lot. So I think we'll put that one up.
There was hot debate within that. There was hot debate within the band whether we should put up Life or we should put up Fathers as like a song to debut from the record.
Ooh, hot scoop.
Yeah.
Oh.
DBYD with the hot scoop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
Basically,
almost got a civil war between the
everyone
band.
told me to put up Fathers. Everyone told me to put up Fathers, and I was like, no, I'm gonna put up Life, and then I made a decision, but
huge controversy.
Well, okay, so actually, I have a question. Do you have a like an online presence that you guys regularly update? Like, is it their Facebook page, their YouTube channel,
Instagram, even or something?
Yeah.
We so we have a Facebook. I'm going to be investing more time into more outlets. I just didn't want to have an Instagram until the record dropped, and I just felt like it would be really strange and
That's
like
fair.
pretentious to be like, hey, follow us on Instagram. It's like, what do you do? I don't know what you sound like. You don't have you know what I mean? Like, so I didn't.
You want to have these blown out live recordings?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, so I'm gonna make an Instagram basically as soon as the album drops. I'm gonna start curating more of a presence. I don't know if I'm gonna make a Twitter just because I just don't know how to use Twitter.
You don't
I have a Twitter. I'm not gonna announce what my handle is because I don't want anyone to follow me, but my Twitter is like the worst. It is like worse than anything in the world, so don't follow me on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, pursue at your own risk. I'm gonna block all of my followers, but I'm gonna make a band Instagram because basically, I thought about maybe making my Instagram into the band Instagram because I basically don't use Instagram anymore. Just because like I don't know what to post anymore. My whole life is like just me being like, I'm at work now. I'm working on the music. You know what I mean? I don't really have a life anymore. So I just
yeah, I know that's why I feel like I don't use Snapchat anymore, or like. It's just like, what am I doing? Well, I'm sitting in the pawn shop again. What are you doing now? I was like, well, I'm at band practice in Watsonville. Like, now I'm at my house. Like,
yeah, exciting life. So like that's why, like, yeah. I mean, it's like I could just keep posting the same selfies from the same angle on my Instagram, but I'm kind of getting tired.
Look, they're good selfies, okay?
Okay, all right. I guess. If you want to follow my private,
I guess if Carlos needs them, like
I need those selfies. But okay, so finally, like now we're wrapping up. I guess I'm just curious. So you have the album done. You're basically as close as you can be to dropping it. It could be who knows when, but it's gonna be.
It's gonna be before we go on tour. Which, by the way,
before you go into it, when is that?
we're leaving for tour on the 12th of January, so it's gonna be out by then. Even if I have to like rob a bank or something, I'm gonna like get it out by then.
Basically within 6 weeks.
Yes, it's gonna be out
of us recording this.
Right.
Who knows when it's actually gonna go live?
I could. I really am shooting to have it out before the end of the year, although that might be a bad idea because I might miss all of the like year-end lists or whatever. I'm not really worried about that. If I can get it out like before January, I'm going to, but it might have to be like very early January.
I mean, so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a tour coming up January 12th. Is it just California or are you going anywhere else?
It's Pacific Northwest. Just playing basically all the places in the Pacific Northwest that I know how to book. It's going to be Oakland, Arcata, Eugene, Portland, Seattle, Bellingham, Olympia, Corvallis, Reading, and then Stockton.
Are you going with any other bands, or is it just you guys?
It's just Awake. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just awesome.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's actually already booked, so that is confirmed. All those dates are good. So we're just waiting on the event pages, and then we're going to start hyping it up more.
Nice. If anyone does want to get into contact with you for Awake But Still in Bed stuff, you did mention you had a Facebook. What's the Facebook address?
It should just be, if you go on to Facebook and you search Awake But Still in Bed, it'll like all one word, all lowercase. It should show up. And also, I think if you go to facebook.com/profile/Awake But Still in Bed, it should be there too. I think it's something like I know that the URL is something
we'll have it. We'll definitely link it in all the places that we put this for sure.
And we'll repeat it on our end so it's a little more clear, so it's not coming through over like Skype or whatever.
Oh, cool. That would be great.
Otherwise, I mean, I don't really have any other questions.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
I guess I mean, obviously right now you're in a point where you're about finishing up the album and talking about it, promoting it, like getting it out there, getting people to listen to it. Mm-hmm. Have you even thought about past that, about what you're gonna write next, where you see the band going?
So we have another tour in the works for March. It's actually almost booked too. We're going down to South by Southwest, and it's about 2 week run with like 5 days in Austin. And that's going to be really fun. And I have been in contact with some people who I met last year when I went to Junior Alderberg. And so that should be fun. And then hopefully I'm looking into full US in the next summer. And I'm hoping that'll happen. It should happen, barring any disasters or something. And then I'm already actually writing for our next release. So I have two new songs that I'm gonna probably start.
Oh wow, you are busy.
Yeah, jeez Louise.
I don't understand how you're doing this. All this moving recently too.
Yeah. It just goes to show. Everything that we've said about it is just like.
It's funny because I totally been there. Where it's like where you have a bunch of band. Like my whole thing is I start a bunch of projects and they all end up firing on all cylinders, and then I just have no time for anything else, and my social life kind of takes a fall.
Yeah.
But the thing with it is like when it's in the moment, it sounds and it is a lot of stuff, but for whatever reason, you don't see it in the moment. You know, it's just like it's exhausting and it's tiring, but you love it so much to keep doing it.
Oh yeah, I always beat myself up for not getting more done. I'm just like, I should be doing all these other things.
Exactly.
What's wrong with you, Shannon? And
right.
Like I'm like, the record should have been out months ago. And I.
Right. When you don't realize that you're like holy, like your car's like packed with all the stuff that you're moving with. It's just like, what am I doing? The album's gotta be out. It's like
no, literally, I was like living in my car earlier this year because I was like in between housing and I just didn't have enough money to like find a new place to live, and I was just like in a really tight spot, and I was using all of my money to pay for the record and like pay for the insurance of my car, and that was it. And I was working like several hours a week, like I want to say like 50 hours a week or something like that, and I was just like stop and go, and then just like parking in like the Safeway parking lot and sleeping and going to work immediately in the morning, and like just like it was just like crazy, and I was super overwhelmed and super stressed out, and I was like spending all day like finishing the lyrics and like practicing the vocals and like just like all going up to Palo Alto and recording and tracking and everything, and I was just like I don't know, I was super overwhelmed, and like the whole time I was just like I gotta get that thing out like soon, like, and then now I'm just like where is it? But it's like looking back though, like I really did like it really didn't take that long, and like it's not like it feels like it's taking so long, and I feel like I'm like, oh, why aren't you working hard? But like if I look back, I'm actually pretty on schedule. So
yeah. Well, all your stress and all that overwhelming. It sounds awesome, like we said 1,000 times.
Yeah, all her stress sounds awesome.
It turned into something awesome. Like the album sounds great. I'm super stoked on it. Can't wait to see you guys play live again.
Yeah, because I caught you once, Sub Rosa. You played at Taylor's house as well as our other friend Trevor, who helps with promoting for.
Yeah, played both the Don't Bring Your Dog Present shows. Now that it's gone to like low key mode.
Yeah, we never got to play at Perks, which is like a bummer. I think I played a Junior Honor solo set at Pergs like several times. I think actually like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw you.
Yeah, that's when me and Carlos met. Yeah,
that's when we met. But
or at least one of those times.
One of those times. Yeah, it was one of those times that we met. But anyways, I mean, I think that kind of wraps us up today.
Yeah, totally.
It was nice to be back doing this with you, Taylor, and then also it was nice to talk to you, Shannon, because we love your music.
It's definitely doing the interview with Shannon after like doing this long hiatus feels like we're just hitting the reset button.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
back into it.
We're back, boys.
You guys, listeners, you can check out all Google search "Awake But Still in Bed," all one word, lowercase. It's all lowercase always. That's just it's
no spaces, all lowercase. Awake But Still in Bed.
Make sure to check them out. That album will be coming out soon. When it does come out, you can guarantee that we're gonna be pumping it as far and as loud. As
it'll definitely be on whatever the next episode is after it releases. It will definitely be on.
We'll get to it. But make sure to stick around. We're gonna play Fathers. We're debuting a brand new track that no one's ever heard except me and Shannon and Taylor and a select few other people. Also probably a lot, but I don't know. Anyways,
these are the perks.
Yeah, these are the perks of the DBYD.
Yeah.
You get debut tracks from sick bands. Any closing thoughts, Shannon?
Just thanks a lot to my bandmates for being super skilled and for showing up to practice and bringing a lot to the band, their own personal things. And thanks to everyone who's listened to this project and follows it and cares about the stuff I do. And a lot of love to my friends Jacob and Tyler and Henry, who always were supportive of me in my music until none of them are with us anymore, but I still carry them in my heart always. So anyway, that's it.
I think it's really nice and puts a nice bow on this.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I guess we'll just kind of end it like we always end it.
Are we still doing the cash raise?
Yeah, I'm still doing the cash raise.
All right.
So, as always, listeners, respect the space.
No jerks.
And don't bring your dog. Good night, everybody.